I don't need no moderator. I just need you to be focused on the message, sweetheart. I don't need no moderator. If you need somebody to block out contents, if you need somebody to block out so you can focus on the message, you're not serious. It's that simple. If you can't focus on the message because you're too busy reading comments, that is an indictment of your commitment to the struggle. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, brothers and sisters. Okay? What did Wells Fargo do? What did Wells Fargo do to hide their racism? What did Wells Fargo do to hide their racism, brothers and sisters? What did Wells Fargo do to hide their racism? Anybody know what Wells Fargo did to hide their racism? I'm about to tell you right now. What did Wells Fargo just do to hide their racism? Wells Fargo got in trouble for denying all those black people business and mortgage loans. Wells Fargo got in trouble for denying all those Africans business loans and mortgage loans. So guess what they did? What did Wells Fargo do a week ago? What did Wells Fargo do? Today is the 12th. What did Wells Fargo do last Tuesday, May 2nd? What did Wells Fargo do last Tuesday? TD Jakes. TD Jakes. What Wells Fargo did was they went and found TD Jakes. They went and found TD Jakes, prominent black pastor. See, this is how they play us. They found a black bourgeoisie, TD Jakes, Potter's house, right? Potter's house. But he ain't built no institutions. Potter's house. They went and found TD Jakes. Listen to this. The bank has paid billions of dollars to settle claims it has discriminated against black folks. TD Jakes, the most well-known black religious leader in America, whose Dallas church ranks amongst the largest congregations, has announced a 2-year deal between TD Jakes and Wells Fargo. A 10-year deal between TD Jakes and Wells Fargo. A 10-year deal between TD Jakes and Wells Fargo. They're going to use TD Jakes to sanitize their image in black America. They're going to use TD Jakes to sanitize their image in black America. Wells Fargo has committed $1 billion to fund a variety of projects that foster community development. Wait a minute, I'm confused. I'm confused. A variety of projects. Can we get some specifics, TD Jakes? $1 billion for a variety of projects to benefit the black. Projects like what? Projects like what, TD Jakes? What deal did you cut behind closed doors with Wells Fargo, TD Jakes? What deal did you cut behind closed doors with Wells Fargo, TD Jakes? $1 billion and you can't name no projects? How much of that money does TD Jakes get? How much money is TD Jakes getting? TD Jakes said, the future looks very bleak for minorities. Listen, black bourgeoisies ain't allowed to talk about black people alone. Black bourgeoisies are not allowed to talk about black people alone. Black bourgeoisies are not allowed to talk about black people alone. Listen to what TD Jakes said. The future looks bleak for minorities. Black people, brown people, poor white people are finding it difficult. Workforce people to get a job, to find opportunity, to get housing. Why can't TD Jakes talk about black people? Why can't TD Jakes talk about black people? Why can't TD Jakes talk about black people? Why he got to talk about minorities, brown people, poor white people, workforce people? Because black bourgeoisies are not allowed to talk about blacks. Philadelphia 76er James Harden. Philadelphia 76er James Harden. Philadelphia 76er James Harden, who I respect. Hopefully he's not bunny hopping. But he has volunteered to help a disabled Asian young man who's in a wheelchair to get him through his disability. Surgeries, whatever he needs, James Harden is going to do that for him. James Harden is flying him out to all the Sixers games. James Harden is doing everything he needs to do to help this young Asian disabled young man to get what he needs. Okay? I don't have a problem with James Harden helping out the disabled Asian young man. I have no problem with James Harden helping out the disabled Asian young man. But I got to ask you, Brother James, if you can do that for one disabled Asian child, no disrespect to that child. If you can do that for one disabled Asian child, where is the black child? I know a lot of black children in a wheelchair. I know a lot of black children with disabilities. We have a lot of black disabled people. My problem with the athletes, every time they sign in sneakers and taking pictures and giving out charity, 90% of the time it's to a non-black child. They are not allowed to be seen with black children. Every time I see them signing some damn sneakers. Every time I see them giving out a jersey, signing some sneakers, taking a picture, doing some charity, paying for somebody's bills, why is it always non-black people? Why is that? 90% of the time, it's non-black people. 90% of the time, it's non-black people, brothers and sisters. I ain't got nothing against him helping that kid. But where is your charity for us? Us. Let me tell you what TD Jake's going to do with that $1 billion. He's going to help people of color with that Wells Fargo money. Listen to me, Black Texas. Listen to me, Black. I want my Dallas Africans to hear me. I want my Dallas Africans to hear me. I want my Fort Worth Africans to hear me. I want my Texas Africans. TD Jakes is going to use that money for poor whites, immigrants, yellow people, brown people, red people. Black people ain't going to hardly get none of that money. Black people aren't going to get hardly of that $1 billion of Wells Fargo money that they're going to use with TD Jakes. I promise you. I promise you this. And y'all will not hold TD Jakes accountable because he is a pastor. He gets a free ride. Just like Al Sharpton. Pastor, they get a free ride. All the religious leaders in the black community who talk a bunch of shit and don't do nothing get a free ride because they religious leaders. It's time for me to get up out of here, but let me give you, I got to get down to FDMG, Delaware. I got to get down to FDMG, Delaware. I got to get down to FDMG, Delaware. Number 12, inadequate welfare programs. The last problem identified by the Kerner Commission for the causes of racial unrest and riots in 1967, number 12, inadequate welfare programs. Well, guess what? If they was inadequate 55 years ago, if the welfare programs were inadequate 55 years ago, If the welfare programs were inadequate 55 years ago, they're going to be really inadequate now, because guess what? The migrants are here. You got Afghanis, you got Ukrainians, and you got South American migrants. Excuse me. You got Latin American migrants. You got Latin American migrants, Ukrainian migrants, Afghani migrants. Guess what? They're going to take up all the welfare programs. That's why they sending them to the black community. Oh, yes. They're going to get all the housing. Yes. They're going to get all the shelters, all the medical coverage. And check this out. Joe Biden said they can get a work permit. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Your Democratic president, who you voted for and about to vote for again next November, you're going to vote for him again. He said that the migrants can get a work permit. Can somebody help me understand how you can find jobs for migrants, but you ain't got no jobs for black people? How you going to find jobs for migrants, but you ain't got no jobs for black people? How you got jobs for migrants and you ain't got no jobs for black people? They send our Haitian brothers back home. They sent our Haitian African brothers and sisters back to Haiti. They sent our Haitian African brothers and sisters back to Haiti. They sent our Haitian African brothers and sisters back to Haiti, but they don't send the Latinos back to the Latin America. They busing them in. They putting them on buses and sending them to black communities. They putting them on buses and sending them. Lord have mercy. This is out of control, brother. I'm trying to motivate us to get organized. I want to organize 500 blacks in every city who are willing to show up and show out. How many of you have the courage to volunteer? I'm starting a show up and show out committee in every black city in America. Who want to join the show up and show out committee? We need a show up and show out committee in Philly. We need a show up and show out committee in New York City. We need a show up and show out committee in Shreveport, Louisiana. We need a show up and show out committee in Dallas, Texas. We need a show up and show out committee in Oakland. We need a show up and show out committee in Chicago. How many of you are ready to join the show up and show out committee? I mean, we show up to the school board meeting and we show out. We show up to the state legislature hearing, we show out. We show up to the governor's meeting with the community. We show up to the mayor's meeting. We need a show up and show out community. Everybody with the same t-shirt, fist in the air, chanting the same chant. Brothers and sisters, we got to show up and show out. We can't take this laying down. We can't take this laying down. Brothers and sisters, we cannot take this laying down. We got to get to work. We got to get the work. We got to show up and show out. There is nothing like organized black people invading a white space. There is nothing more powerful than an organized group of black people invading white space. There is nothing more powerful than an organized group of black people invading white space. I'm going to start the show up and show out committee. I need a secretary for the show up and show out committee in every city. I need a secretary for the show up and show out committee in every city. I need a secretary for the show up and show out committee for every city. We got to do this. Stop sitting around and waiting for election day. Stop sitting around and waiting for election day. Stop sitting around and waiting for election day. We're not going to show up with weapons. Hold your head, Grandmaster J. We're not going to show up with weapons. Hold your head, Grandmaster J. We may have the weapons nearby, but we're not going to show up and show out with the weapons, because you see what they did to Grandmaster J. Y'all saw what they did to Grandmaster Jay in the NFAC. Y'all saw what they did to Grandmaster Jay in the NFAC. We send solitude. We send support to Grandmaster Jay. Hold your head, brother. We riding with you. We hope you get out soon. The black community is behind you. We're not going to do the gun thing. We'll keep the guns concealed. We'll have a security team with us. But we're not going to do the NFAC thing. That's a trap. We're not going to do that. But we're going to show up and show out. If you license to carry, you need to carry. But we're going to show up and show out. We got to. We can't take this laying down no more, brothers and sisters. It's 11:59 on the clock of extermination. You got 1 minute to save yourselves. It's 11:59 on the clock of extermination. I want to leave with one more quote. Y'all ready? One more quote. And this is the most powerful quote. This is the most powerful quote. Where's that quote? Where's that quote? This is the most powerful quote. The most powerful quote. Where is it at? Y'all ready for this? One of the conclusions of the Kerner report was that white racism was at work and was the cause of the riots and the uprisings. The Kerner Commission said the problems in the ghetto were created by white society, perpetuated by white society, and sustained by white society. I want y'all to repeat this with me, y'all. This is the most important takeaway from today's lesson. You can rewatch the lesson on my Instagram, Dr. Umar Johnson. You can rewatch the lesson on my Instagram, Dr. Umar Johnson. You can rewatch the lesson on my Instagram, Dr. Umar Johnson. You can rewatch the lesson on my Instagram. The Kerner Commission said the problems in the ghetto were created by white society, perpetuated by white society, sustained by white society. Who said black people were their own worst enemy? Who said black people were their own worst enemy? The government said the problems in the black community were created by white society, perpetuated by white society, and sustained by white society. Go tell Candace Owens that. Somebody go tell Candace that according to the government's Kerner report of '68, the problems in the black community were created by white society, perpetuated by white society, and sustained by white society. Brothers and sisters, that is my lesson for today. Brothers and sisters, that is my lesson for today. On www.drumar.tv, on www.drumar.tv, I'm going to be doing a political analysis of the major black states, some of our Caribbean countries, some of our Central and South American countries, and I'm going to do a political analysis on every African country. This is going to take a couple of years, but I'm going to go country by country in Africa, and I'm going to do a political analysis of every country in Africa one by one. I'm going to do a political analysis of every country in Africa one by one, a political analysis of all the major cities in Black America one by one. I'm going to do a political analysis of most of the Caribbean islands one by one, a political analysis of most Central and South American majority Black nations one by one. If you would like to schedule me for a podcast interview or lecture, if you would like to schedule me for a podcast interview or lecture, if you would like to have me guest lecture at your college or class, guest lecture at your high school or middle school, if you would like to have me come speak at your prison, your jail, if you would like to have me come speak at your juvenile detention center, your halfway house, your shelter for abused women, your shelter for homeless men, if you need my professional, political, or oratorical skill, you can reach me at 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858. Make sure you subscribe to www.drumar.tv, www.drumar.tv, for my beautiful African sisters who want to be traveling secretaries or project secretaries. Beautiful African sisters who are able to travel and you want to be a traveling secretary, or if you want to be stationary but you want to be a project secretary, you want to be secretary over a specific Team Pan-African project. Make sure you text me, email me, or WhatsApp me. You must be all natural from head to toe, and you must have never been guilty of bunny hopping a day in your life. You cannot be a Team Pan-African traveling secretary. You cannot be a Team Pan-African project secretary if you are guilty of bunny hopping. If you have ever bunny hopped in your life, Black woman, if you have ever spread your thighs and let a devil shoot his ancestors into your heaven, you are not qualified to be a secretary with Team Pan-African. My beautiful Black sisters, you must be natural from head to toe, and you must have never been guilty of bunny hopping a day in your life. I might let you slide if you went out on a date. I might let you slide if you gave them a quick peck on the cheek. I might let you slide if you went out on a date. I might let you slide if you gave them a quick peck. But if you spread your thighs, if you spread those five thick in the thigh, if you spread those almond thighs and those butter pecan thighs, if you spread those caramel thighs and those chocolate thighs and those African vanilla thighs, those hot warm peanut butter thighs, that butterscotch thigh, if you spread your African thighs and you let an Iceman, Neanderthal, cave-dwelling, genetically recessive, conqueror, colonizer, enslaver, if you let him shoot his ancestors into your heaven, you are not qualified to be a Team Pan-African secretary. We are the people of the sun. We have no business. We are people of the sun. We have no business. We are people of the sun. We have no business hanging out in the ice. Black people don't like cold. We like warm temperature. We like it nice and warm. I don't know why you ninjas keep craving the ice. You should be craving the sun, but you keep on craving the ice. Hit your brother up, 215-989-9858.